Hello, hello, hello. um, you have to excuse me today. I feel like I've got a little bit of a sore throat. Not feeling super, but we're going to make the arm video today. And for this, you'll need the cream color for 16 of them. And we'll make 2 in the light beige / brown, which really, there's not like a whole lot of difference in the color. It's very, very slight. But either way, uh, we're just going to go ahead and get started on it. You're going to need some pipe cleaners. So for this, I used, went to Joann, I think it was, yeah, Joann, and got their Fab Lab Craft Chanel stems, and they're 6mm by 12 inches. So I've got those handy, and we'll go through how we're going to use those. I have my bee hook. There, it's trying to focus on it. There it is, the bee hook. It's such a pretty blue. So we start with the magic ring. I made a video about chaining 4 instead of a magic ring, and that one is still valid for this. You can chain 4 and do 8 double crochets into the first of those chains, and it'll be an equivalent to round 1 here. If the chaining 4 is easier for you than making these magic rings with the thread, please do that. And again, I'll remind you to be kind to yourself, because working with thread is harder than working with yarn. It can get frustrating. It slides out of your hands. It's so tiny, so your hands want to grab onto it really tight, and then it cramps up, and it just takes some practice and getting used to it. And honestly, the first time I worked with thread, that's why I started wrapping my finger the way that I do, like this, so that I can get better tension instead of having to cramp up my pinky finger holding on to it so tight. This helps it to where I can relax my hand a little bit. And like I said, that's going to come with time, being more comfortable with your tension hand. So we've got 4 so far. We need to add 5 more here. 4 including the first chain 3. That always counts as a stitch, as we've said before. And that's going to go throughout the entirety of this project. And this project is the nativity, the heirloom nativity that my sister Tina chose. She chose because she thought that it was really cool, and she's right, it is really cool, and it's something that she can have for years, and she can tell folks when they look at it and say how awesome it is. She can say, yeah, I made that, it's pretty badass, I know. So yeah, so that's 9. We're gonna count just to make sure. I like to spread them out when I count because it's easier sometimes. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are good. And we'll pull that, close it up, and then we'll join in the top of this first one. Of the third chain from the magic ring, or the 4th chain that you started with, depending on how you decide to do this. Just join that together with a slip stitch. And so this is a super simple pattern. What we're going to be working in the round, but we're just going to be building the arm. So rows 2 through 9 are chain 3 and double crochet around. So the chain 3 counts as the first one, and then you'll do 8 double crochets into the rest of them, and you'll have 9 stitches in each round. So here we go on an adventure. I'm not sure how. Okay, so this is where we joined. I'm gonna go over this again because it's tough sometimes, and I didn't use a stitch marker this time. This is where we joined, so we're gonna go into here. That's our first one, our first double crochet. We chain 3 for our first one, and then here's our first double crochet in there. Now if you want to, mark that third chain that you did, and that way you got less trouble that way. But we're just going to put a double crochet in each of these stitches. And this should be our last one, but we're going to be safe and count just to make sure, because I don't like to drop stitches, but I've done it before and I'll probably do it again. 2, 3. Let's give you a little better look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this is the top of our third chain that we did when we started this round. So we will just join right into that. There we go. Got it. See, I've been crocheting for years, and this thread, man, it can wear on you. So I'm gonna pull that loop a little bit bigger, because right now what I want to do is I want to pull this. This is actually the hand that we're pulling tight. We're just pulling that ring, making it tight and closing up that magic ring. It's all nice and tight and closed now. Then I'm going to trim my tail just because it'll get in my way. But I'm going to leave it, an inch over where I've got it now. I'm using big scissors today because we're going to need big scissors for when we deal with the pipe cleaners. Alright, so I've joined. I'm going to pull my loop back to normal size. And I'm going to chain 3. Let's look where we joined first. We joined right here. So our next stitch is here. So if we joined here, our next stitch goes here. So we're going to chain 3. Get out of the way. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll double crochet into that next stitch, which is Not here, but here. Excuse me. Alright, and then we just double crochet around. You might have to move that tail out of your way several times. I despise these little tails. And sometimes I try to tuck them in there, but you know, when they're short, you can't really do a whole lot with them. If you're curious about background noise today, I'm watching a documentary about King Tutankhamun's tomb and all of the finds all the neat things that they found in there. Um, this is a series, and they're opening up an Egyptology museum that's going to have like all of the huge Egyptian tomb finds, Tutankhamun's being one of them. You know, you've seen his gold death mask, which is amazing. Another sister of mine, Felicia, actually made Tutankhamun's death mask out of model magic back when I was in middle school, I think. I don't know if she did it for like history. It wouldn't have been U.S. history. It would have been world history. So she might have been in 10th grade or so when she did that. But it turned out really neat and it was cool. She painted it. It looked great. She did a good job. And now she makes cakes that are absolutely beautiful. She made my wedding cake. She made her wedding cake. She's great. It's amazing that we have so much talent in our little circle. I've got one sister that sews, and she has made curtains for her little girl's kitchen. She's got twins, and she's made curtains for them. She used to make these rice bags for us, like you heat them up in the microwave, or actually they were buckwheat, I think was what was in it. Uh, it works like a rice bag, so you heat it up in the microwave and then you put it on wherever's achy, and it's a nice moist heat. Um, it's really great for when you have a backache or when you've pulled your neck muscle or you just want to, you got your girly time cramps, they're great for everything. Um, I need to make sure I didn't skip one because that looks a little weird to me. Actually, pull that out and count. Crap, I pulled another one out. There it is. Stupid thread. Alright, we'll count this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I didn't skip one, but it sure did look wonky to me. Maybe I'm just looking sideways though. Alright, here we go. We're joining here. Chaining 3. Going over. We're not going to go here. We're going to go in this next stitch right here. So, speaking of sisters, I've got 2 sisters who are wonderful. I've got all my sisters are great. Let me just throw that out there. But 2 of them are nurses. One is a neonatal intensive care unit nurse, and she takes care of all those premature and tiny babies, and she's a saint. That's the one she's the one I'm actually making these videos for. She's the oldest. She's been our secondary mama for years. She's always looking out for us. And then my other sister, Cindy, she is in school to be a nurse anesthetist, and I'm very proud of her because she, like I, had children early in life, and then decided to go to school afterwards. And she has made leaps and bounds, and she went to school and became a nurse first, and then she decided she liked it so much that she wanted to be a nurse anesthetist. I hope I'm saying that word right. It's kind of a weird word, anesthetist. I don't know who thinks of these words, but damn you all for making them weird to say. It doesn't roll off your tongue quite right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just wanted to count real quick. But we're super proud of her and her accomplishments. She's going to be great. When she gets done with school, she is going to be one of the best in her field because she doesn't know how to not be the best, if that makes sense. She's very competitive, and if she's going to do something, she's going to do it the right way. That's why you always have Cindy make you a drink. Ha! And she's going to do it. She's going to do it the right way, and you're going to know that it's quite a wonderful drink. Speaking of drinks, Cindy, I need to have drinks with you soon. Oh my goodness. Alright, let me count, because having problems here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We got 9. We're cool. I'm just going to continue what I was doing. My sister Mary is the one that sews, and she's got twins. Oh my god, anybody that has multiple births, bless your heart, because I was not given enough patience for 2 kids of the same age at the same time. Well, small spurts. Let me say that. Small spurts. But they're good kids, and I'm proud of her too, because she's kicking ass, taking names. She's training to run a half marathon, and she's doing great so far. Her longest run, I think, was an 8-miler last week, and she's getting up there. She's gonna do it. Come September, I'll be cheering her on from home, but cheering her on nonetheless. Let's see. So we've talked about Tina and Cindy, and we talked about Felicia making cakes, and we talked about Mary and running and sewing, and let's see. Wendy. Wendy is another sister, and next year is going to be her first year as an assistant principal in the public school systems here in North Carolina, and she is kicking ass too. Like, we are all amazing people. I'm so proud of us. She's in the process of getting her second master's so that she can be a principal and help these kids navigate this weird thing called life. It takes special people to do all of those things, and I really, man, I hope they know how appreciated they are. There's 9 right there. All right, cool. There we go. got it. My brother, I have two brothers, one of which I wish he would talk to us. He had an argument with my dad and years ago, and he hasn't spoken to us very much since, and that's really sad because we still love him and we'd love for him to be around, but people make their own choices in life, and that's fine. I don't wish bad for him. I just wish he'd talk to us, and I hope he knows that we love him. And then I have another brother who is who's doing the Lord's work, quite literally. We come from a big family, obviously, uh, but he's a pastor. He's a Baptist pastor, and I think he's getting his master's in divinity right now. So we're super proud of him too. And gosh, all of us have really worked hard to get to points in our lives where we can be proud of who we are and take care of our loved ones and all of our heathens. I call them heathens. They're all good kids. It's just it's so crazy to, I feel like yesterday I was in high school, but that's not true. It's almost 20 years ago that I was in high school. Oh, and that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit, but you can't stop the clock. You just kind of gotta roll with it. But through it all, we've seen each other grow. We've seen each other cry. We've seen each other laugh. We've laughed at each other more often than not. And it's great to have a family that you can, talk to, and you're not intimidated by them, and they're supportive of you, and they just want the best for you. And I hope that anybody who's watching this, I hope that you have that kind of support system too. And if you don't, hey, email me, shoot me a comment. I'll cheer you on from afar. I'm a really good cheerleader. I know this because so silly. I know that I'm a good cheerleader not because I was a cheerleader in high school. No, nay, I say. I was a band nerd in high school. We've got 6 rows so far. That's what I'm counting, just so you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that I'm a good cheerleader because when my husband one day decided he wanted to run. And so I said, all right, cool, go run. And then he came home and he said, I'm going to run a marathon. And I'm like, okay. Well, you know how people will run 5Ks and then 10Ks, and then they'll run their half marathon, and then they'll run the marathon and they'll celebrate. No. My husband said, I'm going to run a marathon, and that was the first timed race he ever did. Now, he trained and trained and trained and trained, and he ran his first race, his first marathon, in under 4 hours. And I don't know if 26.2 miles actually it was a little over 4 hours, but his mile time was right at like 11 minutes a mile. It's really hard to keep that pace up for 26.2 miles. That's a long long way to run, and I'm so proud of him too. He's a good husband, and when he puts his mind to something, he does it. and he follows through, and it's quite impressive. So, I'm sorry, I keep moving my hands out of the camera view, and I don't mean to, but I'm trying to see what I'm looking at. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's 9. There we go. So we've just got a few more rows to go on this first arm here. If you're keeping up with me, awesome. If you're not, if you're having to pause, that's cool too. I don't care how long it takes you. You know, this isn't a race. Like I've said in previous videos, I've been doing this for a while. I'm not a professional. I don't make money off of my craft. But I do enjoy it, and I think that's why a lot of us craft, period, is just to get some enjoyment out of our stillness, you know. Put a little bit of brain work into the stillness, but still be able to enjoy the solitude of a craft by ourselves, but also to be able to see the fruits of the labor at the end of a big project. And seeing the fruits of your labor at the end of a big project is super exciting. Even little milestones are super exciting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's 9. Cool. So as we progress with this project, we'll see how we make the bodies of the people, and how we put the bases and the bodies and the styrofoam cones and the heads and the arms and the sleeves and the robes and the I forget what the other thing is called. It's either a robe or blah blah. I don't remember what the other one's called. It's a piece of clothing. And we're coming up on our last round. But we'll be able to, to see how all of those pieces are made, and then I'll do a video of just assembly so that we can see how all of the parts that we've put our heart and soul and work and labor into, we'll be able to see it progress into the finished project, or into the finished part. And it's gonna be pretty epic, I think. They call this an heirloom piece because it does require a lot of work. There is a lot of little tiny things that go into it that you would be like, oh, okay. If you saw it in the basket, like if you saw the basket of all the crap that I bought for this project, you'd be like, why do you need that? Where's that going? But once you see the complete picture, it'll, it's cool to see all those little parts go into the finished assembly, if you will. But even making these little arms, you can just imagine how cool this is gonna be. You know, everybody's got 2 arms. All right, let's count, make sure we got 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's 9. And we'll join there. But I'm really excited to go on this journey with you guys. Well, dadgummit. There we go. Got it. All right. So we join, and this calls for us to leave a pretty long tail. So long tail to me is like 8 to 10 inches. This is what long is for me. So I've just didn't measure, but you know, I eyeballed it. And then we'll finish that off. And when I finish off, some people call it knotting off, whatever, I just pull a chain through, and then I just pull it really super duper tight down at the end. So this is what we're working with here. This little arm looking thing doesn't really look like an arm yet, but it will. So next we're going to get our pipe cleaners out, and I'm going to reveal my ruler that I've drawn on here because I'm fancy. Now these are 12 inches long, so you could just bend it in half, this pipe cleaner. But what happens when you bend it in half is that it leaves this really pointy area, and it hurts when you touch it. So each of these marks is a 1/2 inch, so we're gonna go 6 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6 inches. So right here where my finger is, this mark should be halfway, and we can count the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 on each side. So I'm gonna grab this and take these thicker scissors, or the bigger scissors. I use the bigger scissors because I don't want to mess up my embroidery scissors, because number one, those things are expensive. Number two, those things are not made for cutting wire. These are just utility scissors. They're, I think, Scotch brand. Yeah, Scotch brand, and they're great. I bought them when I was wrapping Christmas presents and my others went dull. All right, so what we do now is we take this 6 inch length of pipe cleaner and fold it in half. Just fold it. You don't have to twist it. Just fold it. And then we're going to stick it through the folded end. Stick the folded end, not the pointy end, because the pointy end is going to stab into our cones later. Stick the pointy end in all the way to the hand area, and then we're going to weave this tail through and pull snug around that pipe cleaner. So we'll take this, and just like we did with the